Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Skull World, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm your host, Dave. You can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook at Skull World. Today, I got invaded by Rynos from Vikings Uncensored, and we're going skull searching for the next defensive coordinator with Justin. Hey, guys, how you doing? By the way, my intro was for a different show, so I said, hey, I got to do a different intro. So sorry to shock you there. All right,
we'll
guys.
Improvise.
How you guys doing? How's Ryno doing, man? Tell them about Vikings Uncensored.
Vikings Uncensored. We do new episodes every Friday night. They come out on our YouTube channel. Real honest Vikings talk. Lance and I are just a couple of fans who like to tell it like it is. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're going to give you our honest opinions on things. Some people may like it, some people may not, but you're always going to get our honest view on things. Like I said, the new episodes come out Friday at 6 p.m. Central on YouTube. You can also catch us on our Facebook page, at Vikes Uncensored on Twitter, and we've also got Instagram and TikTok and a few other things too. So any kind of social media, just look for Vikings Uncensored. You're going to find us.
And after I'm done with the show, I'll get my lazy ass in gear and put that social media on the description below. So if you're listening to this later, I was lazy. I may or may not. I think I didn't do it. I will. But I also got Justin. Or sorry, did I just?
No, you're good. You got it right.
I got Justin from Skull Searching, who is the proud owner and creator of the Ed Thorpe Trophy that has been lost in the annals of history. Tell us about yourself again, man.
Yeah, just been a fan my whole life, and real quick, does my audio sound good?
Sounds wonderful.
Okay, I'm getting used to these big headphones.
I'm still getting used to this broken one here. Hey guys, make sure you hit send some money to me so I can get new headphones. There you go. I'll put that up while he's talking.
Yeah, just a lifelong fan, tortured fan. Also been a athlete myself, so I always try to kind of get a different perspective as a fan, to the game. But just huge passionate about football and the Vikings, and my life goal has been to help them win a Super Bowl. That's it, pretty much from here on out.
All right, here we go. There's super chats active to get me new headphones. All right. Hey, so Ryno, we're in the middle of a defensive coordinator search. Is there any ones that stand out to you so far?
Well, I mean, to this point, the Vikings have requested to speak to 3 different individuals. We've actually interviewed 2. Sean Desai was in this afternoon, and
we got him up.
Ryan Nielsen was in Monday, and then we also have requested to speak with Flores. Now, I haven't heard when that interview will take place. I know he's doing some head coaching interviews. I believe he's interviewing with the Cardinals sometime this week. But, I mean, of the guys that we've got coming, it's kind of interesting. O'Connell has made mention that he wants to stay with that 3-4 style defense. Now Nielsen is a 4-3 guy. They run a lot of 4-2-5s and but the base is out of a 4-3. Now the other 2, Desai has, of course, was defensive coordinator with the Bears. And he said he ran a variant of Fangio's 3-4 there, and has since added some tweaks for from Seattle. Flores runs a 3-4, different style, back to the Belichick area. The thing I like about Flores, though, is his defenses are extremely aggressive. His blitz rates are kind of pushing that Wink Martindale area up in that 35 to 40 range. And, after seeing that passive aggressive BS that we saw the entire season this year, I'm all for some aggressive defense personally, but
before we'll talk about Flores here in a second. We got Dave Thibodeau in the chat. Thanks for coming, man. We got Raymond Hoagland. I don't know if you checked your email, but the 44 jersey, the Chuck Foreman autographed jersey, I shipped it out today. You should have your tracking number in your email. That's the big winner of my giveaway. James Bowman, Skull Man. All right, Dave Michelson. Good evening, gents. And we got Bandito. Yes, I got that a lot as a kid. Super Dave was a personal hero of mine. I am kidding. All right, so let's talk about Brian Flores. So I put out a video, and I'll start with you, Justin. I put out a video where I said Brian Flores, he has this great resume, the coaches he's worked with, Tomlinson this past year, so many years under Belichick. Belichick does not have a big coaching tree of a success as head coaches. And when Brian Flores went to finally he was never a D coordinator. He's a defensive backs coach and then a linebackers coach the last few years with the Patriots. I had said that the 3 years of him finally controlling the defense was really mediocre, like ranked in the 20s if you averaged them all out of defenses. And I thought, well, his first year they were ranked 31st, 32nd in yards allowed kind of thing. So I said he hasn't even, when he finally got the reins of a defense himself, where he's the head coach, he made all the decisions. He didn't show me. I kept hearing Miami Dolphin fans, which one of them was my best friends, say he's supposed to be a defensive minded head coach, but we hadn't had really great defenses yet. Is that something you're looking at? Because I know he's a big name, and everybody's like, I actually have a poll out that basically 80% of my followers on Twitter say, yeah, great hire. What do you think about him?
Well, yeah, it's interesting points you bring up because we've seen different coaches that. Well, I'll give an example. Mike Zimmer. I don't know if guys that were coordinators successfully change their mindset as a head coach, or they overthink, or they try to do too much. But yeah, you see these examples of these guys that excel in a specialty, and then when they get the reins, things change. So we don't really know what's behind the scenes. I won't lie, I don't know a lot about the other options as of right now. I'm not going to pretend I know about their history too much. I agree 100% with what Ryno said, though, is I just want somebody who's going to promote guys playing aggressive, flying around. The defensive energy needs to match the offensive energy. And you hear KOC talk about all the time, oh, we want people, flying to the ball and playing aggressive. And it's like, then we saw Ed Donatell's plan, and it was just prevent and soft and putting guys all in the wrong places. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, is it worth the risk? I think so, because I think his mindset's just right for us. So has he failed in other categories? I'm sure, yeah. But as a defensive coordinator, and his mind just going, okay, I just got to make this defense more aggressive, more competent, I think it's worth a shot.
So Ron, tell me about, you were telling more about, like he's saying, more aggressive and stuff like that. Tell me more about that, what you know.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I guess, just some of the stuff I had seen was, looking up on some of the stuff, his blitz rates are higher. He likes to disguise. He runs that Belichickian defense, which is by nature aggressive, a lot of schemes, a lot of the illusion of complexity, so to speak, that, Kevin O'Connell talked about when he first took this job as head coach. It's not that bland, basic 3-high shell coverage, cover 3, cover nobody defense, like I always called it with Donatell this last year. It's
cover nobody.
Yeah. I mean, and the one thing with Flores, though, is, he has designs on being a head coach again. So he may be one of those guys that's a short-term rental kind of thing. So that's something to consider too, I guess.
Yeah, we want him to be good, just not too good, right? No, I'm kidding. Like, that was the thing. Like Tomlinson, he was probably our best defense I could ever remember. I mean, throughout my years of thinking of defenses, we probably had our best year for 1 year under Tomlinson. Became a head coach and won a Super Bowl with the Steelers. And, he's been the longest tenured coach in the league, if I'm not mistaken, under one team, outside of Belichick, under one team. So I think that's
right. Never had a losing record.
Yeah, even this year we thought he was going to have one, right? And he ended up getting over 500, which is crazy, right? I think he would in 9-8 or something like that. Yeah. I thought this was the year he wasn't going to get to 500, and sure enough, he did. Do you remember Tomlinson,
You mean Mike Tomlin?
Mike Tomlin. Yeah.
Did I say Tomlinson? Tomlin. Sorry, I'm thinking of our defensive tackle.
That's all.
Mike Tomlin. Sorry,
I think it's about
I'm
Mike
getting
Tomlin,
old, man. I'm getting old. Sorry.
We knew what you meant, Dave.
They didn't though. They think I'm crazy. So go ahead, save me on this one. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, only thing I saw for the first time in my life, first time in the last couple of years, I saw veteran Viking defensemen who know exactly what they're supposed to be doing, looking lost. I mean, It was key little moments, but I think you brought it up last week. Kendricks, he's not slower. He's not a worse athlete. He looked lost. And I mean, some of our DN guys, Adarius, I think he probably kept quiet about it, but I think these guys knew that they were just in the wrong places all the time. They just didn't seem comfortable in any of the schemes we ran.
Yeah, Ryno, I brought up on previous shows that I've been doing that. Hey, how much is it that the teaching of this defense and confusion of the players that they were playing slow rather than they being old? Because I mean, we got Harrison Smith, right? He went to the Pro Bowl last year. We had Kendricks, who 30 and he falls off a cliff. And then we got one guy, Patrick Peterson, rejuvenated his career, and we got Tomlinson back, who played really well. We got all these. We had all this confusion in the secondary. I mean, especially in this last game where he said, "Oh, you're gonna like what you see." Yeah, the only people who liked what to see was the opposing team. So how much do you think it was, hey, we got these old players, or how much was it that, hey, this is just he was confusing the hell out of them. This is a defense that they were not made to play. And what do you think 60-40, 50-20? Well, I don't know. What do you think?
It's definitely a combination of the two. I mean, we've ran a 4-3 defense or some variant of that all but 1 year out of the 61 years that this team has been around.
Yeah.
Now we switch it this year. And Lance and I talked about this when Donatel first got hired and we knew that we were going to a 3-4. I don't believe Eric Kendricks is a 3-4 linebacker. He's a 4-3 middle linebacker. He's not made to run in the 3-4 the way we were trying to do it.
Well, just to add in there, one of the reasons why I thought he would transition well is because that's what they played at UCLA. What do you think?
Yeah,
I mean,
but in the pros he never has, and
right.
And there is a difference. And there is a difference jumping from one to the other. I think a lot of it was we didn't have the right personnel, which going to a different scheme and keeping all the old players, that's going to happen. I mean, we kind of knew there would be growing pains with that, but also, the way Donatel was calling this, almost refusing to blitz, having your best pass rusher and Daniil Hunter covering a wide receiver instead of rushing the quarterback. Now, some of it, though, I do think there is a bit to the age thing. I mean, and some of it is being lined up out of position and these guys not having the recover speed that maybe they once did. Kendricks being one, Jordan Hicks being another one. I think a lot of this, it was just a bad mix from everything. In the 3-4, you're supposed to have that big, massive space-eating nose tackle in the middle that's going to block everything up and clog all the lines and everything. We didn't have that either. We had a guy playing the nose that is more of should be a 3-4 defensive end, not a 3-4 nose tackle or off tackle, whatever you want to call the position. But
I can never keep track of the techniques. 3 technique, 4, 5 technique.
In a 4-3, I know it all quite. Like in a nose tackle, it's you got the 1 and then you got 5s and all that other stuff.
Yeah, it's beyond me. I leave it up to Luke Braun, who I had on my show. Who I'm name dropping. Who made the point that they only spent 20% of the time in the 3-4 anyways. Mm-hmm. But I made the point was, hey, in that 20%, I don't want Zadarius Smith on Amon St. Brown.
No,
I don't want that. So why not just have a defense and a scheme where we don't find that situation happen? And Justin, you brought up Eric Kendricks, and I did a poll, and 662 people voted on Twitter and said, Only 18% of them wanted to bring back Eric Kendricks, and 82% release him. I guess I'll pose the same question to you. Luke Braun brought up getting rid of our other linebacker.
Jordan
you just
Hicks.
said it, Jordan Hicks. So getting rid of Jordan Hicks, and I'm like, but we're not deep at linebacker. We don't have a lot of people. Asamoah's coming up. That's it. So you think Kendricks is worth bringing back?
I get always caught between.
Don't get pressure. This is 82% are telling you to get rid of them. Go ahead.
You know what? I know I constantly, as a good analyst, and I'm not a professional analyst at this point, you have to remove all emotion. And that's probably why I'm still on that teeter-totter between, fan and personality, professional, whatever you want to call it. I try to find that balance. But, I'd like to see him one more year. If it doesn't work financially, though, I guess yes for now. I still don't want to – I don't want him to end on the way he did. I think it was a bad scheme. And let me ask you a question. Do you think that Fred Warner is that much better of an athlete than Zadarius Smith or Eric Kendricks? Because you just saw him going out in coverage and making plays. But the reason why I think he's got a little bit more support on that front, 3 or 4.
It'd be a huge difference if we had guys playing the defensive line that were meant to play that type of defense. And we did not get any pressure up the middle. I mean, these guys were like all 3 of our starting linemen, I believe, were run stuffers. Like that's what they were meant to do. And I don't think Tomlinson, hopefully I got his name right because I'm throwing out wrong names all the time, was meant to play 4-3 in, defensive tackle and not a 3-4 defensive end. I mean, there's these guys playing on a position. They're, meant to play run stuff, and they're not getting after the quarterback. The only way we get off the quarterback is outside linebacker. You brought it up, Ryno, that, hey, Brian Flores is great at disguising the blitz and all that. And that's something we did not do in that last game. I'm like, when we
didn't do it all year.
Well, I mean, there was a couple games where late in the game we were disguising, pressures, and we ended up bringing forward. We didn't do that at all in this game, and we didn't do it in most of the games that we played. There was only a couple of times where I said, okay, he finally did it, and it was in the fourth quarter and it was late. But this one, when he did blitz, they hadn't disguised it all game, and then when we did blitz, our nickel corners in a sprinter stance ready to go, and instead of handing off to his running back, he's like, oh, that guy's blitzing. Oh, let me just throw it to the guy he should be covering. I mean, that's how bad it was. So I agree, man. If I can bring a guy like Flores in and he does that type of thing, I would. We beat the Giants, and we may not move on, and that's the only worry. Is I want a guy that and let me bring this up, turn a defense around in 1 year. And I posed the question to my listeners, and I had this 2.5 hour argument with Justin. I just want your guys' opinion. Is it easier? Do you think it's more likely to turn a defense around in 1 year than to draft an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl inside his rookie contract? And 81%, and I had a longer question. I broke it down here, but 81% said that it's easier to turn on a defense in 1 year. 19% said QB. You draft a QB and he wins a Super Bowl. And I'm like, okay, my voters agreed with me. What do you guys think about it?
Well,
I know how you feel about Cousins, Ryno, but we'll go with Justin first since he talked about it.
I'll say this. I saw something interesting, and someone brought up about, the Vikings offense is really good. If we continue to make it better, it doesn't matter how bad the defense is. But I disagree, and I agree more with the poll, because a defense can be so easily adjusted and fixed by just talking what we talked about, better schemes, putting guys in the right place. I really look at Patrick Peterson, like you said, everybody thought he was done. And I think if he was put on an island more, he would have got exposed a lot. But he quietly got bailed out a handful of times by, Harrison and some of the safeties still doing their job. And I think that at the end of the day, it's way easier right now to plug in the right defense and get the right mindset versus a guy learning a whole scheme, chemistry, offense, confidence, mental issues. Like there's so many factors with a QB. You got to go. Right now, it's easier to fix that defense. 100%.
And I brought up the point that when Zimmer came, we had like a really bad defense, and he turned it around and made it respectable and then elite within a couple of 3 years. I just want it to be respectable next year, right? I want it to turn around. So I don't want to steal your thunder. Go ahead, Ryno, and this is not a Cousins question.
No,
I believe Cousins is going to be here next year.
So do I.
My co-host said cut him and start over this year.
You can't cut him because you incur a $40 million cap.
Right.
You can find a team that maybe would trade him, and
but we're still eating that. I still think if we were to trade him, we would eat a lot of contract, right? And we wouldn't even really get that. So anyway, go ahead.
It'll honestly surprise me if Cousins is not here in 2023. So we'll just put that there, and we'll go back to the defensive side of things. We've proven for the last almost 50 years that we can't find it. It's hard for us to find a quarterback in the draft. I mean, we had it with Dante Culpepper for a while. That's really the closest thing we've had to a franchise quarterback since Fran Tarkenton, Tommy Kramer. Now, turning the defense around in 1 year, I think is asking a little bit much, especially with the constraints where we're at with the salary cap and so few draft picks and things like that. But I will argue if we had a top 15 to 20 defense this year, we'd have been playing this weekend. It wouldn't even been close. We probably would have been the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
arguably, and sitting at home field advantage, we'd probably be playing this weekend.
We would have minimum been the 2 seed. Minimum. Yeah,
at very minimum. Right. I mean, we almost got the 2 seed with the worst defense in the league. So you jump that defense up 10, 12 spots. I just
wanted to average this year. I didn't get it.
Yeah. I mean, putrid would have been an improvement in a lot of those games. I mean,
putrid.
I still look back thinking about it now, looking back to that second game when we played Philadelphia on Monday Night Football. And Troy Aikman sat there the entire game, just baffled. He said, "Why are they're not doing anything but running that 3 high shell coverage? What are they doing? What are they doing?" He said that at least a dozen times during that game, and it never changed. And Donatel never changed the entire year. The only time he did was after that. I forget which game it was. I think it was after the New England game when O'Connell brought him in and said, "You're way too predictable. If I was playing against your defense, this is what I would do. You need to change it up." He changed it up for a game or two, and then it went right back to the same old garbage that he was throwing out there before.
Well, and then it was like the Packers and the Bears. But hey, let me catch up here. Mary Fisk, awesome. Thanks for listening. This defense was embarrassing. There was a combination of Donald players that need to go. It could be. It could be a lot to do with the players. I think someone brought up 60-40. 60 was Dontel. I think it's more like 80. But Mickelson, Hunter as well. He got better as the season went along. I said I'd bring up a lot of points that he did put his hand in the dirt a lot more. It wasn't a 50-50 like it was earlier in the season. So he was gotten a lot more chances of going after the quarterback. Hey, Purple Pocket Podcast. What's up, man? Thanks for joining. Bendito, sorry if this was covered, but as Flores interviewing for the head coach job, we've asked. I haven't seen that it was scheduled yet. I don't think anybody here can confirm that either. For our
DC job, no.
Yeah, we didn't have a true nose tackle. I agree. I was Jordan Love, right? Out of Georgia is who I wanted at 12. Jordan Davis. That's why I brought you on, right? To correct me every time I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a lot. Well, the playoff proves that that's wrong. I don't know what he's referring to. I guess I should have been kind of.
Jordan Love probably could have played in our defense somewhere.
Yeah, Jordan Love probably could have beaten our defense.
Put him at corner and maybe inside nickel linebacker.
Jordan Davis, shut up. All right, I think of all 3 candidates, Flores is the one to turn around in 1 year. That being said, he's likely 1 year. Yeah, out of the 3 guys that we just talked, and let's talk about one of them here. I brought up. Let me bring him up really quick, and that is Ryan Nielsen, who is the co-defensive coordinator for the Saints. Let me bring up his name. His history: NCAA and NFL coaching career. 2002, Southern California volunteer assistant. 2004, Idaho assistant. 05-07, Mississippi defensive line coach. 08-09, Central Connecticut State defensive coordinator, defensive line linebackers coach. 2010, Tennessee Martin defensive line special teams coach. Jesus, this guy moved around. 2011, Northern Illinois defensive line coach. 2012, similar position. 2013, North Carolina State. 2014, he finally got to the Saints. 2017 to 2020, New Orleans Saints defensive line coach. 2021, New Orleans Saints assistant head coach, defensive line coach. And New Orleans Saints co-defensive coordinator. We're familiar with having a defensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator, and that was 2021. How did that work out? Are we looking at a guy that shared the defensive coordinator duties? And does anybody know the Saints as far as how was their defense? They did a pretty decent job against us.
Yeah, I think their defensive line was good, and I mean having
that was his job, so that's good.
Having Cam Jordan on the defensive line helps out quite a bit.
He eats us alive, Cam Jordan, man.
Their D line was good. Secondary,
yeah, but the thing I found interesting with Nielsen coming in is, like I mentioned earlier, O'Connell saying he wants to stick with the 3-4 defense. Nielsen, to my knowledge, has never run any variant of the 3-4. Like I said, it's a 4-3 base, and they run a lot of 4-2-5 nickel. Now, is this O'Connell going out and kind of picking other teams' brains a little bit, candidates to kind of maybe try to bring in some more knowledge from different schemes to try to meld things together? With Nielsen, I kind of think that might be what the plan is with that. Now, that being said, watch him get the job, I guess. But
do we get Cam Jordan with the deal?
If we get Cam Jordan with the deal, I'm in.
Hey, didn't his dad was a legendary.
His dad was tight end for us, yeah, Steve Jordan.
And Pro Block Podcast, who's a very advocate of getting rid of Kirk Cousins at any point and for any reason, is on the side of getting rookie to roll the dice, go trade all your future picks, and go get a rookie quarterback and try to build a team within 5 years and go to the Super Bowl. We often forget that the Rams had $50 to $60 million tied into quarterbacks. 27 of it, which wasn't on their roster, was on the Lions roster. So it could happen, and it has. So not all Super Bowls are won by rookie contract quarterbacks. So that being said,
the biggest thing with all these, winning quarterbacks and all this stuff, you got to remember the numbers are going to be way skewed from the past 20 years because Tom Brady played in 10 of them.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the Kellen Mond experiment, gave us all a little bit of PTSD, and I think we got to let that go.
And Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls and he beat Tom Brady.
Yeah. But here the thing, Justin, to your point, talking about Kellen Mond, once again, that was Rick Spielman trying to find a quarterback, and that's something that the fan base, and I know we've all got PTSD and everything else over picking quarterbacks. You got to remember, Rick Spielman been around since 2006, was completely in charge of personnel from, was it 2011 on?
He's fully responsible for drafting Ponder.
Right. But
CP7,
the guy that we had hired to find us a quarterback got fired in Miami because he couldn't find a quarterback. So we have to look at the source here, not just the fact that the Vikings can't find a quarterback. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's no, we hired a guy to be a general manager who got fired from his other job because he stunk at it. And I'm not going to completely dump on Spielman. I mean, he had some good picks, but his shotgun approach of, secret dream of his was to have every 7th round pick of it, possible, and just draft 32 players in the 7th round. But
we've had absolute magic at drafting receivers and running backs, and an absolute disaster at quarterbacks. But I think now
and cornerback.
Yeah, I think now is the time. I think I'm a Kirk Cousins advocate, as most everyone knows, but I think it is the time to start building under Kirk and saying, his durability has been great, but you know, I like Rose and I like Mullins, but these guys aren't like guys that you want to come in a playoff game or guys that you want to really develop, you know, under him. I'd love to see a mobile quarterback for once in our lives that finds a balance between running and throwing. But
well, we kind of had that with Culpepper for a few seasons, but yeah, and two of them were pretty good. And one was elite. I mean, he should have won the MVP if it wasn't for Peyton Manning pulling out like I don't know how many 15 touchdowns the last 3 games of the season, which was crazy. But I wanted to make a point to you, Ryno, about what you're saying is, like I thought going into this year that this year 2023 would be our better year of the two. Like if I would say 2022 and 2023, I thought this coming year was going to be where we would I thought we were going to be pretty good. I thought we'd be better the next year. And part of that reason I thought is we were going to not have as big a cap hits to get rid of some of those older players. And we would have more maneuverability in this year, which I think we can have. And I, again, name drop Luke Braun, big conversation with him about that specific thing. And he brought up the fact that if we do extend Justin Jefferson and his first 2 years aren't going to be $35 million, he's getting an extension, which kind of makes it almost perfect to if Kirk Cousins gets another 1-year extension, that's 2 years of us trying to set ourselves up for that quarterback. We may not get him this year because we only got 5 draft picks, but we might set ourselves up for 2024, the draft in 2024, and sit a year under Kirk, and now we got our guy ready to go. I mean, it almost seems like it's perfect. Like that's if we can get that guy.
Now, I don't know what the 2024 quarterback class is going to look like. Now, this year, by all accounts,
maybe we roll the dice this year. Maybe we somehow.
If you, I've seen a few mock drafts rolling around here because now since the season's over, I start digging into this stuff quite a bit. I've seen a couple where they have the Vikings taking a quarterback in the mid rounds. I saw one yesterday where they took what's his name, Dugan from TCU in the 3rd round.
Max Dugan.
Max Dugan, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen one a week or so ago that, and I don't know that that maybe he's like someone like a Stetson Bennett or something later in the draft. Somebody that, a later round flyer, which I've always been an advocate of anyway, whether we're set at quarterback or not, is bringing in somebody every couple of years, as a 3rd stringer or whatever, work him up, develop him. If you can make him a backup, great. If he develops into something more, even better, because then you either have a future there or you have valuable trade bait to stick out there for somebody who is in desperate need of a quarterback. So,
yeah, I was really into just dump Sean Mannion, have Kellen Mond and someone you drafted come in and fight for the backup. I didn't believe in this. Hey, we need a veteran backup that can't play, hold a clipboard and help out Kirk Cousins. I was not into that. I want 2 guys to fight it out that have potential, and we didn't do that. And all those quarterbacks were dropping. And I liked a few of them. And one even went undrafted that I liked. And I thought, well, go get him. No, we didn't go get him either. We decided to go in with Sean Mannion. And it was just abysmal preseason.
We had the Sean curse. Sean Hill, he wasn't awful, but he was not good. Sean Hill and then Sean Mannion for way too long. And if we would have kept Heineke and brought in a guy like who we got now, they would have actually, like you said, comparable backups, or gotten a guy like a Chad Henne, man. Like he comes in.
Taylor Heineke got hurt. Unfortunately, instead of trying to keep him, we released him, and I don't know. Yeah, it was unfortunate. We might have made the team if it wasn't for getting hurt.
I think he would have.
Doing a 4th quarter comeback, which was outstanding. I think his last game with us, it was pretty good.
Against the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Fisk agrees with me, and she's got credentials. I don't know, Mary. Tell us what your credentials are, because she thinks
Miss Mary is one of the unofficial ambassadors for Vikings Uncensored fan club. So,
all right, Mary, make sure you hit subscribe, like, and comment to Minnesota Sports Talk. Come be a fan of mine. Come be a listener of mine every single week. We're on tomorrow too, under Skull Experience, and then I'm doing Skull World Live. I'm bringing on one of my hometown friends' kids. I could probably be his grandfather. I don't know. I'm gonna bring him on tomorrow or on Thursday to spice it up. I think 7:00 Central Time. But hey, thanks, Mary, for coming on. Let's talk about this. The other guy, Sean Desai. Let's see here. Let me bring him up really quick. Defense, associate head coach, defense, Seattle Seahawks. He's got a little shorter list. I don't have to drone on about. 2006 to 2010, Temple defense and special teams coach. 2011, he wasn't the D coordinator. The 2011, University of Miami assistant director of football operations. Boston College, 2012 running backs coach. 2013, 2018, Chicago Bears defensive quality control. 19 and 20, Chicago Bears safeties coach. 21, Chicago Bears defensive coordinator. 2022, Seattle Seahawks associate head coach. Now, I had mentioned in one of my other videos that 2021, the Bears had a sneaky, decent defense for having not nearly any talent on it. And also Mike Pettin, who is an inside candidate, possibly. I don't know if they want him, though, to move out of his assistant head coach job, I think he has. But with those two, they were sneaky decent, I thought, in 2021. What's your take on it? I'll let you fight it. Which one talks first? Go ahead. Go ahead.
The thing about Desai, that one thing I find interesting, he was actually a finalist for this job last year.
Yeah.
And it went to Donatel. Now, my first guess is, okay, do we really bring this guy back in a second time if we don't have serious thoughts about actually hiring him? When he was with the Bears, he is one guy that survived 3 different head coaches. He was here in Chicago under Mark Trestman to start, then through the John Fox era, and then through Fangio, and then
I'm liking him better.
Rolls into that whole deal. Even now,
you have to be good to survive head coaches, and
right.
we've had that.
We saw that last year with O'Connell keeping Keenan McCardell around.
Right.
So, he has the background in that Fangio 3-4 scheme that O'Connell likes to play. And on top of that, now being in Seattle for a year with Pete Carroll and those guys up there, getting a little bit of more different tweaks and stuff to it. I honestly think right now, Desai is probably of the 3 that we brought in right now. Anyway, I think Desai is probably the front runner to get the job.
I'm thinking I'm liking him out of the 3 too. What do you what's your thoughts, man? What do you think? So far out of the 3 we talked about, is there any?
I don't know much about him, but I look at resume and it's interesting because he had a lot less jobs, so he had more stability. But it was some interesting jumps, like the positions he was in. I know like quality control and operations are always kind of under the coaches and learning. But I mean, he must have stood out personality wise, because if I looked at his resume, I would say he hasn't done anything in the NFL besides that 2021 Bears that you mentioned that would really prove that he could have a good defensive, mindset. I don't know what his personal, if he played football, if he was a defensive player, but yeah, interesting. The other guy had some like long resume. I know I never heard of Central Connecticut.
And he was year after year after year switching teams too.
So I don't know. I guess stability.
Yeah, it's a little job hoppish, it seems like, but
yeah, what's more of a desirable, someone who's been moved around and wanted maybe a few places, or someone who's stuck with positions and had a little bit more durability? So I don't know. I guess I'm jumping on the easy bandwagon of knowing that Flores, I like his mindset, but you're right. Flores could be a trap. I mean, he really could be. So I'm kind of indifferent between him and Flores right now. I think I'm just hoping and trusting KOC and Quasi know what they're doing.
So Mary Fisk gave me her credentials. She's 50 years of loving the Vikings, and she goes, "No, I am not 100." Happy 99th birthday, Mary Fisk. I'm kidding. I imagine you're probably in your 60s if you've been a Viking fan for 58 years. And so my mom's 70, gosh, I don't even know, 79 years old. And she's been a fan probably as long, if not longer in years. And she wants one before she dies. Same as me. Let's hopefully that happens. And trademark, what is it? Purple Daily. Sorry. Trademark Purple Daily on that one. Yeah. Sean Desai, head coach. I like the fact that, he did make the jump from Bears safety coach for 2 years to defensive coordinator. They had a decent year. They were competitive. They didn't win a whole lot of games, but their defense was not as big a problem than their offense was. And I think they were ranked like 17th that year. Last year, this past year, I think they took a dive. He goes to the Seahawks. Seahawks turn around their team in 1 year. Maybe he has something to do with it. Who knows? She goes, let's go with that. Happy birthday, 99. All right. There's some other options out there, but hey, you mentioned that you had some random shit you want to talk about, man. So go ahead and tell me about your random shit you want to talk about.
All right. Couple random things. I'll let you guys unpackage them.
You take over. It's Justin with Skull Searching, the new host of Under the Lights. Dave and Ryno are under the lights. Go ahead, man.
All right. How about I unroll each in its own subject, and I'll let you guys tell me what order you want to go in or how you want to unpackage it. One's kind of controversial, but all right. So topic 1, I'm upset with our own fan base. I'm very upset with our own fan base. Topic 2, how they could potentially make it up to me, if it matters to any of them. And 3, while very controversial, I have a potential plan to get Tom Brady to go from 0.5% going to the Vikings to almost 10% going to the Vikings.
I don't want him at 10%. Tom Brady is cooked. All
right. Does any of this get me a strike on YouTube?
No. No.
All right. Darn.
No strikes.
All right. Okay. I could.
You get on double secret probation on Facebook.
Start with the first one. Go with the first one.
All right. So as you both know, if you Google search or look anywhere on the internet, how many excuses the last 50 years Viking fans love to talk about curses, some sort of curse. Obviously, we know the main one, the Ed Thorpe one. And I know part of it was during COVID in the beginning of the project, but I'm so frustrated that when the Vikings had rejected getting the replica in the museum, I was fortunate enough to go to the museum shortly after, and I found a little like coin trophy that they had gotten instead from the 69 season. I guess they got rings too. And it is like the cheesiest, ugliest trophy I've ever seen. So when the Vikings had rejected me like 5 to 7 times, I really thought our fan base would be like Buffalo's, Detroit's, Cleveland's, anything they can do to kind of create some sort of really positive energy to get behind something, not just about the players and the team, but like a monkey off our backs. So I'm still frustrated at our fan base that they have not jumped on this and supported me whatsoever with this on a whole.
If you're listening to this, Justin had recreated the Ed Thorpe trophy, which was the trophy given out to the 1969 Minnesota Vikings, correct? Yeah, so you recreate because it's apparently lost, and he actually recreated it painstakingly and even gave blood. It's like in the trophy, apparently. That's what I think your sister told me.
Over 100 hours and over $8,000 the project cost me.
And a pint of blood is in this trophy.
Yeah.
Coagulating. Anyways, so a little context to this, and the Vikings turned him down, and Paul Krause even gave you a stiff arm when he met you because he was the only guy on the team that you met, and you wanted him to take a picture with it, and he wouldn't. So Paul Krause, part of the curse. But apparently, so you tried like 5 to 7 times. They've rejected your thought, and you're hoping that the fan base would get behind you to get this trophy in there to be a potential, I guess, turnaround of the curse. Like,
it's not even about the curse itself. It's about like something that we can get behind. Like, now I'll give you an example. We've seen controversy and injuries help and hurt teams. Like, for example, we all thought DeMar and everything with Buffalo was going to drive them to play better. What we've seen in the more recent is like Philadelphia in 2017 and the Bengals this year, being the underdog, the doubted, the disrespected, that's gotten
2009 Saints. You know,
it's gotten teams
I
further.
just flipped them off.
It's gotten teams further having that, like, everyone's against us, we're the underdogs. But at the end of the day, like, fans and teams need positive things to get behind. And, you know, it's just, I just couldn't believe that our fan base wasn't more like, you've been complaining about curses for 50 years. And now someone stepped up and said, hey, you know what? Let's do something about it. And everybody was like, nah, we just want an excuse. We just want to complain about it.
Hey,
we don't want.
If there's any way that we can erase the curse and get this team a championship, I'm in.
Mary, we'll talk about that last year,
felt.
but we'll keep talking about this Ed Thorpe controversy. What's number 2 on your list? Or did you just tell everything?
No, so number 2 is, well, yeah, number 2 is basically if the fans actually kind of get behind this and start really trying to help.
Bandito loves a petition. So do you got a petition started?
Somebody started one before me, and it got to 168 signatures. It needed 200 to get to the next level, and it never even
rookie
got
numbers,
past
guys.
200.
That's rookie numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe I could. Well, we'll see.
It's still
We'll
active.
see.
A guy named
get
Tony.
some groundswell.
A guy named Tony Thielen started it like a year before I stared my project.
A guy named Tony Thielen, is he related?
I don't think he's related to Adam, but
is it E before I or is it I before E? I don't know.
No, it's spelled the same way. It's spelled the same way.
What's 3? Just so I can get Ryno's opinion on bringing Tom Brady to the.
So here's the thing with Tom Brady. Now, I'm also extremely skeptical of what he has left, but I feel like Tom Brady is that guy where most fan bases that don't have him will be like, he's washed, we don't want him. It's kind of like the cute, thicker girl that all your friends are like, I wouldn't date her. I wouldn't.
Ryno likes a thick girl, so yeah.
But behind the scenes, everybody's like, oh, dude, I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like it would be a massive risk, but to bring that kind of confidence and energy and to have a young guy even get under him if we had him for a year or two, I know it's a massive controversial risk and most fans would say no, but I think that Tom Brady wouldn't be the end of the world for us for a season or two.
Well, we thought Warren Moon was over the hill, but a couple 4,000-yard seasons, and he was pretty good for us. And we did.
Warren Moon also wasn't 45 years old either.
True.
True. I mean, he was like 38, 39-ish, I think. I forget. He was pretty old though. But for those days.
He was at late 30s when he came.
Well, so here's my plan.
I think Tom Brady was involved. I mean, his ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, or already ex-wife, I think his soon-to-be ex-wife was a witch. So, I mean, he was using mystical arts. So he might be 30. He might be 35 on the inside. When
you're talking about that, now that they're divorced, you probably put a hex on him.
Oh God, yeah, I don't want him.
It'll fall off the other side. He's going to age like 20 years in the next 6 months.
So, Justin, I'm against it now. He's making a hell of a good point that we already had a curse with that Thorpe trophy. Now we got the double hex.
But maybe two X's it out. But I'll tell you why this all came about. So a lot of Viking fans don't know this, but I actually hold the first ever world record in pickleball.
Oh wow! I have a coworker big into pickleball. What's the world record, man?
So I have the first ever world record. It's we played 2 years in a row over 24 hours straight. Me and my buddy.
Is it in Guinness?
So it's not in Guinness. It's in World Record Academy. Unfortunately, Guinness. Let me shut this door real quick. Guinness did not approve it due to a few paperwork and formatting errors with our video, but and we didn't pay them the fast track money, so I think that's why. But World Record Academy stepped in and approved it, and the county I live in gave us a resolution. We had about 6 or 8 articles written, so it definitely got kind of publicized pretty well.
The pickleball world record. You play. I mean, so what's the stipulation on that? You can't. I mean, you got like the ball will go out of bounds or whatever. You can go pick it up and play again, right?
Yeah. So you're allowed. You get every hour you earn 2 minutes to go to the bathroom or a drink or whatever. And you can build that up. So you can do like 3 hours in a row and get like a couple minutes. That's what we did. We'd play like 3 to 4 hours in a row. We'd get a short break, and then you got to jump right back. They would
You had to be freaking sore.
Time your breaks. At the time, I was doing endurance events. I was a runner. I was doing like half marathons and stuff. So I was really conditioned, but it was actually mentally harder than physical, not falling asleep.
Well, you impressed Mary Fisk. She's impressed.
So the plan and the point behind it is so Tom Brady and LeBron James just invested in pickleball, like a lot of money, and they're trying to blow this thing up.
Tom Brady knew.
What was that?
Who was the other one?
LeBron James, and a few others. So they're investing big time in it, and it's kind of a long shot. But I have a few people that have some ins with upper security with Tampa, and they said they're going to try to set up a. They've been doing all these charity celebrity pickleball games. So before,
just FYI, Justin lives in the Tampa area, so that and tell us about you actually know. The father of Alexander Madison, right? He's in your fan club.
Yeah. So he's I think originally from KC or Cali, but he comes to Florida a lot, and we met in a bunch of us met in New Orleans. So we got to tailgate New Orleans, Tampa, and super amazing, awesome guy, Daryl, and he's good friends with a few guys in our Tampa club.
Which is my lead into Dalvin Cook in my my Twitter poll I did. 20% say release. I didn't even give them the option to trade, but I don't think we get a whole lot. But let's say trading is out of the bounds. They said 20% say release them, take the, I don't know, $6 million cap. I forget what it was. And 80% said release. 783 people voted. That's like the second most. That was the one behind Ed Donatel that I put out there. What do you guys think? I don't know if we'll be able to sign Alexander Madison. I don't know if the Vikings are going to invest in him. That was one of the things you were kind of hoping for. But let's go with Ryno, man. What are your thoughts on Dalvin Cook?
We can't pay Dalvin Cook $14 million next year. We absolutely can't, especially looking the way we saw the offense transitioning through the season. The running back position became very secondary. Now, I mean, I've made no secret in the past. I don't think you should give any running back a big second contract, because they take such a beating and they, run themselves out in that first 4 years or so. It sucks for them, because it's a hard position, and it's going to be increasingly difficult for these guys to make that big second deal. But it was on display this past weekend as well. You look at Zeke Elliott; he is a shell of his former self. The Dallas Cowboys are paying Zeke Elliott $12 million to be their backup running back because they can't afford to get rid of him.
And I invested in a Ty Chandler rookie card, 10 of 10, a Panini Black. So I got some money riding on. I got that in today. But
and I think that becomes kind of the way this goes, is a running back by committee type thing with Chandler, with K'Waungu, with maybe another late round guy, or you pick up a Dollar General free agent short yardage back kind of thing or something, But
Justin, give us your case for, that you get. I think you brought it up the last show you were on with me. Your case for Alexander Madison. What are you thinking with him?
This is the only Vikings superstar I have zero emotional connection to as far as getting rid of. I think Dalvin, you can't keep him. I agree. I am a big Madison fan. I do think he hasn't taken a big beating. He's durable. Obviously a huge Ty Chandler fan. So we've already got guys in the system we don't have to bring in. I also mentioned bringing in some guys to help potentially that know the system, like Abdullah or McKinnon, if we don't, keep Alex. So I think, we definitely let Dalvin go. That's not even a question, for me. I don't have the emotional connection with Thielen and Kendricks like I do with him.
I mean, I have a little bit of emotional connection to Dalvin Cook, because I think I like his story. He just what he had to survive here in South Florida, where I'm located. He gets away from it, goes to Florida State, gets in a little bit of trouble, corrects himself. He became I believe an emotional leader for the Vikings on D. or on offense, and he, probably not single-handedly, but he was the spark in 3 games. I think Buffalo, I think the Colts, and I think Miami. I think those 3 games he put us over brought us back or put us over the top. So it's kind of hard to get rid of a guy like that. I put out the prospect how unlikely it was is to buy out his contract like in a 1 year, give him more of a guarantee for 1 year while we got these other guys in the wings. He was the first alternate for the Pro Bowl this year, 6th in rushing. I don't know.
He actually got named to the Pro Bowl this year.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He was first alternate, and now he's in it because one guy left. Same thing might happen to Patrick Peterson. We might have more Pro Bowlers. Not that I want these guys in the Pro Bowl. It's a flag football game, basically.
Well, it's been a flag football game for the last 10 years, but
so yeah. Well, now it really looks like it's 2 untouched game. Let's see. There was a question here by my new favorite listener who came over from Vikings Uncensored. I'm trying to steal you. I'm tampering, Mary Fisk. I'm going to try to bring you over to my channel.
Don't go stealing our
I'm stealing your fan. No. Mary Fisk says, could we discuss your feelings on Diggs' behavior on Sunday? I put out a tweet because I'm doing a campaign of day 4 of trying to get Kirk Cousins on the on my channel to be part of one of my shows, and I do fun fact at the end of it. And the fun fact I put was number 8 is the best quarterback Stephon Diggs ever played with. Which means Josh Allen, who sucked in the playoffs, was not the best quarterback he played with. But hey, I won't make you comment on that. Fans. I won't your opinion. I know what you're trying to say, Ryno, and I would like Josh Allen myself too, long term. But go ahead, tell me, man, what do you think of Diggs' situation? I had some tweets. It's not looking good. Is he forcing himself out again, or what? What is he doing?
I don't think so. I mean, we all know Stephon Diggs is an emotional guy. We saw that when he was here. And I saw the tweets that he came back, kind of his damage control stuff he did the last day or two with.
I'll have to go look him up.
Basically, he's like, I'm upset. I want, thought people wanted to see players who value winning above all else. I want to win. I want all this. I get where he's coming from, and I don't necessarily hate the fact that he did blow up on the sidelines. It didn't bother me when he did that when he was here, because it is showing fire. It is showing passion. And so many times, and Dan Barrero on K-Fan was talking about this afternoon. I tend to agree with him that, you see a lot of these guys on the sidelines, their team is getting blown out by 20 some points, and they're sitting laughing and joking on the bench talking about, where they're going to go out and get a beer after the game or whatever. But then you get somebody like, and the fans want to see emotion, all this stuff. And then when somebody like Stephon Diggs comes out and blows up on the sidelines, then it's, oh my God, he's a petulant child. He's this, he's that. He's spoiled. He's, selfish. He's this and that. You can't have it both ways, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, one of the things that he did in this situation, and he also did with us, is that was it the beginning of the 2019 season, which we made the playoffs. He was showing up late for he was showing up late for meetings and stuff like that, doing cryptic texts before these, and he was showing it. I mean, he was doing it at the beginning of the season before we were even doing anything.
That kind of stuff I don't like.
Right. And then this game, he got out before any of the coaches got back into the locker room. If I'm not mistaken, the way I've been told is that after the game was over, like he left before anybody could come in. Like he got in there and got out, like, before even the coaches got out and got into the locker room.
One of the backup running backs.
I don't mind someone exploding but that's you did that to your, it's like you were doing that to your team, putting yourself above the team. Him explode on the sideline is not where I'm at. It's what he's, what he did after the game, or what he did to us in practices, is where I was like, hey man, you're losing me here. That's the way I felt.
If you're supposed to be a leader on the team, that kind of stuff you shouldn't be doing. the raw emotion and stuff like that, like you said, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I actually like seeing that kind of stuff. But the other stuff.
And then you get Terrell Owens going, that's my quarterback, man. That's my quarterback. You know,
yeah, you
I don't
know
know
what
how
the
much I
difference
believe in
is?
that, but
Exactly what you said, Ryno. I hated
Ryno's
Tom Brady
always
in New
right.
England. I hated Tom Brady in New England. I hate Aaron Rodgers. But there's one thing I'll give them, and it might be age. They will throw tantrums on the field, and they will, be pissed, yell at their guys. But the moment they're done, they're in the locker room. They're supporting their team. They're not tweeting about it. They're not throwing, they're not deleting their social media and removing their team stuff on there. That's what I didn't like about Diggs, and I agree. You can be fire on the field, and players will support it. You can yell, you can curse, you can throw a helmet. But the moment that you leave that field, like you said, you shouldn't have a practice squad running back telling you, come on, dog, the team needs you, come back in, and he comes back in. That's something that you'll never see Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers do. They're going to be there. He might not shake a hand. He might not shake a hand, Tom Brady, but at the end of the day, he's in the locker room with his team, and he's pissed.
Rodgers just goes and throws his wide receivers under the bus in the press conference on Tuesday.
Yeah, and they have their own flaws, but you know what I mean. It's like you said, it's how he acts when the game's over versus the fiery intensity during the game. That's what I'm okay with it versus not okay with.
Yeah. Like you're not showing up late for work. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Saying.
Yeah. No,
like
Tom
you're
Brady's
not in the there is a point. I get it with Aaron Rodgers. I'm never going to defend him. I think it's great that he's in there throwing his teammates under the bus. I don't think by name, but by position he was. And so, yeah. Coaches do it all the time. And you're almost like Aaron Rodgers is like the de facto coach. It seems like the face of the franchise. And, Tom Brady, I think at points had done that when he had not much to work with too, but not as direct or condescending as Aaron Rodgers usually puts it. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from. And yeah, I just, there's you're not more than the team, man. That's all I'm like thinking. Yeah, you lost. I think everybody in Buffalo. I mean, you got a guy up in the stands, and there's like a conspiracy that wasn't the what's the name of Hamlin?
DeMar
Hamlin. Like he didn't show his face, and he wore a hoodie the whole time, and he got snuck in and out of the room. But let's say that was him up in there, and he was and everybody that they're playing to win for him. They're the America's team right now, kind of thing going on. And I don't think there's a single player on that team, including Josh Allen, that wanted it to go that way. You know what I'm saying? And for you to, hey, I'm the one fighting here. Yeah, you should like me because I'm the one fighting here. I don't think everybody has to act like you. No. You're not bigger or more. It doesn't mean more to you necessarily. It could be. It could. But I think there's a lot of guys on that team that aren't the big kahuna that may want it more than you. They just don't express it like you. And I think we relate to them more than we relate to the way Diggs handled it. And as fans, and we don't like to see controversy on our teams. So you're going to get backlash, but you're going to have the even-handed, like what you're saying, Ryno. I like it, and here's the part I didn't like, and I think it's more, it might get all smoothed over. Well, it might get all smoothed over, but who knows?
And that's the thing. I mean, Buffalo's going to bring Diggs back next year. There's no question in my mind about that.
He did wonders on my fantasy team.
Yeah, but to your point you just made, though, there are parts you can like and parts you can't like. And it seems like there's too much of that with anything nowadays. You either have to be completely one way or completely the other way, when most of the time there's a middle ground that you can see parts from different sides of things and agree with some part of it and not the other part of it.
Well, and in the 90s and 2000s, you'd hear all the time about superstars getting into fights with other guys in the locker room. But guess what? There was no cameras and there was no proof. And it was talked about. Maybe they had to talk about it because that was between the team. And that's what matters, is when they talk about it with the team. Diggs, I think, does it for show. He knows he's on camera. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does. But he throws fits on top of the national media, whereas there's guys that probably got into fights through their helmet, but they did it in privacy with the team, not like, well, here's my center stage, I'm going to be a diva. And that's where he puts himself in a bad position too.
And Bosa for the Chargers?
Yeah.
He got hell for the way he acted. He might have been completely right. But because of the way he acted, he became the villain. He apologized afterwards. But, I mean, who knows what that ref said? Or I don't agree with the ref following a guy, looking him in his face, and throwing a flag. I think the ref's completely out of line. But then you go throw the helmet. Okay, you threw your helmet. Your coach grabs it, gives it to you again. You throw it again. I mean, that was showing, and he apologized for that. He says it has nothing to do with the coach, whatever. But hey, purple and gold for days. Make sure you follow him. He's my normal co-host. I've replaced you with Ryno. Sorry, you're not coming back. No, we're gonna be back Tuesday. I'm gonna be out. He's gonna have Sal Spice Sally. She still calls herself the reigning queen of Twitter on her show next week. But hey, I hope your kid's show went good, man. Thanks, Mary Bandito, Too Evil, and the cast of thousands for joining. That's Justin. I agree with Dave 100. So he didn't agree with you guys. No, we all kind of had the same thought on that, I think, or something similar. Kurt doesn't really, Too Evil to Hope. Do you ever see Too Evil to Hope on your show? Yeah, I know. He misspells it on purpose. And Ryno, do you ever have Too Evil to Hope on your show?
We don't do a whole lot of live shows, so I don't catch all of the comments and stuff through.
Well, go in the comments to Evil to Hope of Vikings Uncensored. He aligns with you pretty good. I don't think he misspells. I don't think he calls him Kurt. You might call him Kirky. Do you call him Kirky? I don't know. People call him Kirky too.
No, we just normally go with
Kirko?
cousins or whatever. No,
Okay,
yeah,
so you
during the season. During the season, we were pulling out the Kirko chains. As
Kirko chains. Yeah.
The Incredible Hulk to his Bruce Banner of the regular Kirk Cousins kind of a thing, but then they shelved that and that kind of went to hell. But
go over there and follow. I'm trading you for Mary Fisk. Mary Fisk is coming to my channel. Too Evil to Hope, man. You've been my best financial supporter. Every once in a while, he throws me a 5 spot. He's laughing about it. And Kurt McGirt. Okay, Bandito, man. You're killing me. All right. Any last thoughts there, Justin? What's up, man? Go ahead. Searching has got the last words.
The final part of my story. So the final part of the story with Tom Brady is I'm going to use his ego, and I'm going to tell him if I beat him in a game of pickleball or impress him, he has to increase his odds of signing with us by just that small amount. So I know no fans want it. Yeah,
he's got to put out a memo.
Yeah, so I'm gonna beat Tom Brady in a game of pickleball, and he's gonna come on for 1 year, win us a Super Bowl. See you later. Curse broken. Done deal. That's it for me.
Odell Beckham. I guess that's Odell Beckham. Did he die?
No, that's
nose?
OBD. OBJ was Odell. I don't know who OBD is.
ODB. I don't know, man.
ODB.
We figured out that mystery. Ryno, go ahead with yours.
Again, thank you for allowing me to co-host tonight, Dave. Really appreciate being on with you guys all the time. Once again, Vikings Uncensored, new episode coming out Friday night, 6:30 or 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time on our YouTube page. Just go search for Vikings Uncensored there. We're on Facebook for Vikings Uncensored, Twitter at Vikes Uncensored, and check us out. Give us a follow. We take all the fans and supporters and followers we can get. So come on over, listen to Lance and myself talk. A lot of stuff, kind of like what you heard tonight. The unfiltered, the honest opinions, the to the point. We always say we're not going to blow smoke up your backside and have unicorns dancing on rainbows. We're going to tell it like we see it. So
I bring the unicorns and I dance on the rainbows here at Minnesota Sports Talk. But I guess old dirty bastard from Wu-Tang Clan died.
Well, I didn't know we were about football, so I didn't know we were going to music. So
I don't know. We're doing the switch music. Rip old dirty bastard from the Wu-Tang Clan. Appreciate everybody. Will it be live Friday, Ryno? Dave?
The recording itself will not be live, but we do have a live. We do when we do the premiere, we do a live chat along with the recorded episode. So we'll be there talking back and forth.
So you premiere it.
Yeah,
so
we do.
Yeah. So on Friday at what time?
6 o'clock.
At Friday, 6 o'clock Central, they premiere their show. They watch it along with you, so you can be in the chat just like this. So you guys can talk about it. They can interact with you. I did that one time. I don't know, and then I started doing live, I guess. He's got StreamYard now. Maybe I can talk him into going live. All right. Thanks, MST.
The biggest thing with our live stuff is Lance's work schedule is kind of all over the place. So
Lance needs to quit his job, go full time.
Yeah,
push him over the top.
More important. This is more important.
We're planning on doing some more live stuff now. Now that we're kind of, so you need to subscribe to Vikings Uncensored to be able to hope. Yes, you absolutely do. And we would greatly appreciate it if you do.
Join his chat.
Come on over to the dark side.
Yeah, and I'll get Mary Fisk full time over on my channel.
You got to throw in another at least a first round pick to get Mary though too. So
okay, I'm throwing in a first round pick, 2 3s, and a 7th next year.
I'm still a free agent. I just bounce around wherever.
Well, to be able to hope. I mean, the chat is live though. He's going to be live on the chat. It's just going to be playing the video, but you can still talk to him.
We usually record our shows when we do the recorded shows like on a Wednesday, so we try to catch as much of the news as we can, and then we'll play it. But then I'm 99% of the time I'm always in the chat. Lance is in there as much as possible. So we're like Dave said, we're watching the episode premiere with you and interacting and talking back and forth that way. So,
and come back tomorrow. We got another big YouTube queen of Twitter, not queen of. I said it completely wrong. Another queen of Twitter. Thousands of subscribers. Very positive influence on Twitter for the Vikings. Come check her out tomorrow on the Skull Experience. This is Minnesota Sports Talk, Vikings Uncensored and Skull Searching. See you next time, Skull Vikes.